Hey, welcome to Volcanoes. This is your MP4 PowerPoint video, and our objective today is to have students be able to identify the parts of volcanoes and different types of volcanoes. So what are volcanoes? Volcanoes are areas of Earth's surface through which magma and volcanic gases pass, and besides having the capabilities to be very destructive, volcanoes can also create very fertile farmland. Let's take a look at a volcano. Let's start with the magma chamber. The magma chamber is actually under the ground, and this is where the pressure is built up depending on what type of material is within the magma. The magma makes its way up through the vent, and as it reaches the atmosphere, it becomes lava. And little tiny pieces that enter the atmosphere are known as ash. And then also within the diagram you can see where they have layers of hard lava and ash that's built up the actual volcano itself. And taking a look at eruptions, they can be described in two different ways. The first is the non-explosive eruptions. These are the most common types of eruptions, and they produce relatively calm flowing lava. The other type of eruption, you guessed it, it's the explosive eruption. These eruptions rarely occur, but when they do, they can be very, very destructive. Instead of producing a lava flow on the ground, explosive eruptions can cause molten rock to be blown into the air as teeny tiny particles, and they harden in the air into dust-sized particles, and we call that ash. Now this can reach the upper atmosphere and can circle the Earth for several years, and as a result can actually cool the Earth to an extent. So you might be asking yourself, what makes a volcano erupt differently from another volcano? It's the composition of the magma that's within the magma chamber that makes it different. High silica content in magma makes it very thick, which is called viscous. This causes the magma to be trapped and the gases build up, and as a result we have pressure, and eventually you got boom. So along with that boom, it's got different lava that's coming out of different types of volcanoes. First type of lava we're going to take a look at is called aha. It's lava that cools and actually has jagged chunks to it. Now my personal favorite is a type of lava that's called Pahoea. It's lava that cools with wrinkled surfaces. It actually looks like it has braids. Another type of lava is a lava that is formed underneath the water, and this is called pillow lava. And as we have pillow lava that looks like pillows, we also have blocky lava that's literally blocky. It's thick lava that oozes from the vent and forms heaps of sharp-edged, chunked lava. So far we've taken a look at lava that forms flows on the ground and also underneath the water. But take a look at this. During an explosion, an eruption, magma sometimes is thrown into the air. And when it cools, as it travels through the air, through the mid-air it cools, the material is actually called pyroclastic material. It's magma that cools in mid-air and solidifies before hitting the ground. Now there are two types of pyroclastic material. The first is called Lipili. It means little stones, and they're the size of pebbles. There's also volcanic ash. These are actually the smallest of the pyroclastic material, and as you can see they get larger. One is called a volcanic bomb. These are large blobs of hardened magma, and also volcanic blocks. These are the largest, as you can see to the right. A big chunk of solid rock, and sometimes can be as big as a house. As the volcanic gas and ash spread throughout the atmosphere, as was mentioned before, it can block out the sun, and this can cause global temperatures to drop. As you can see, this is a type of volcano. This is called a shield volcano. It's got a very broad slope. It covers a large area. It's a gently sloping side, and it's caused by non-explosive eruptions. This is a very runny type of lava that's making its way down the hillside. There's no pressure buildup, so there's no explosion. And just as we have the shield volcano, we also have a cinder cone volcano. They have steep sides, and is formed from moderately explosive eruptions, and it's made mostly of the pyroclastic material that is accumulated around its vent. Sometimes called a stratovolcano, this is a composite volcano. It's the largest type of volcano. It's formed from alternating explosions and also quiet eruptions. Here is a crater volcano. It's a large funnel-shaped pit at the top of a volcano. It's actually sort of beautiful. It's got a little lake there. And a little bit larger than the crater is what's called a caldera, a very large depression at the top of a volcano where the magma chamber roof has collapsed. And you might be asking yourself, where do volcanoes occur? Well, volcanoes occur mostly along the edge of tectonic plate boundaries. And there are many volcanoes surrounding the Pacific Plate, and this is known as the Ring of Fire. As you can see, the Ring of Fire is exactly what it sounds like. It is a ring made up of volcanic activity, as you can see, straight down the west coast of North America, west coast of South America, making your way back through around Australia and Asia. And where these plates meet, sometimes when plates move apart, it can cause volcanism, where there's a giant volcano. And this is known as a divergent boundary. This is where plates separate and they actually form a rift zone. New Earth is actually being created at this place out in the middle of the ocean. And there's also places out in the middle of the ocean that are known as hotspots. It's volcanically active areas far from a plate boundary, and you can find island chains like Hawaii. If you take a look at the island chain of Hawaii, starting with the Big Island, that's where the hotspot is currently. And what has happened is the plate has actually moved from the smaller islands all the way, if you can see further west, that's where the hotspot used to be. And over time, those islands have weathered and eroded away. And there are three types or categories of volcanoes. Number one, extinct volcanoes, probably not going to erupt again. The second is the dormant volcano, the one that's quote-unquote sleeping, has the ability of erupting again. And you also have active volcanoes. These are currently erupting volcanoes showing signs of erupting in the near future. Now, as far as warning signs of eruptions, sometimes there's small earthquakes, and that forces magma to move upwards into the caldera. We also have increasing volcanic gases that are seeping out, and we also have a bulge sometimes that is seen on the side of volcanoes. That's an early warning detection. And that concludes our lesson on volcanoes today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.